At 4 a.m. at the number 1 channel, I didn't news call any the empire or gonna hire the airbremo. Na moon saying somebody will not say a bit too dry. Then we do, and we are ram say a becca, and a mamma terrace, yet that was one call. I could see and semi or Sonny the about over many minutes a bar. The business was near that count at the amount, yes, for your way. You could see semi or Sonny the about over mine.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the media. My fellow countrymen and women, so I have called you here today to brief you on recent developments arising out of our investigations as a department. The briefing is in two parts. The first part relates to the arrest and detention of Mr. Kobina Edubohini and Madam Angela Ajiye-Boateng and other suspects on March 20th and March 21st, respectively. The second will consist of an update, very broad in character, on the investigations arising out of or in connection with the oral report that was presented to me on the 10th of February this year. So first, to the Edubohini case, because it has raised very significant interest because of the nature of the arrest. You'll recall that he was arrested at the airport, and I started getting calls from all quarters regarding his arrest. So at about 9 p.m. on Thursday, March 20th, 2025, an operation carried out by a team of investigators from the Economic and Organized Crime Office, which is under the Ministry of Justice, led to the arrest of Mr. Kobina Edubohini. The arrest was effected at the Kotoka International Airport in Accra when Mr. Edubohini disembarked from a British Airways flight. Mr. Edubohini is the immediate past Director General of the National Signals Bureau of the National Security Council. At about midday on Friday, March 21st, 2025, the investigators went on to arrest Madam Angela Ajiye-Boateng, whom I have indicated is the wife of Mr. Edubohini. Madam Angela, the couple are shareholders and directors of a list of companies which the investigation establishes have been used for transactions which form the subject matter of the investigations. The arrest followed intensive investigations into the purchase of some cyber intelligence equipment by the National Signals Bureau, formerly known as the Bureau of National Communications. It must be made clear from the outset that though under the Operation Recover All Loot government program, this operation does not form part of the list of cases which the oral committee submitted to the Attorney General this year. The operation was led by Mr. Raymond Archer, the Deputy Executive Director in charge of operations at EOCO. Here are the facts on which the arrests were made. On February 25th, 2025, around 11:30, 23:20 hours, EOCO received intelligence that suspect Kobina Edubohini left the country for the United Kingdom via British Airways flight BA 078 to London. Days after that, EOCO received further intelligence that the suspect had flown from the United Kingdom to Dubai and had purchased an Emirates airline ticket, which suggested that he was expected to arrive in Ghana on Friday, March 21st, 2025 at 12 noon via Emirates flight number EK 187. On Thursday, March 20th, 2025, EOCO received intelligence again, additional intelligence, that the
Yarefo for ensem ayo koso any de eba ewo mani menu na waso egusu awuti mahwe pa se wuti na nso e adwentwe awo fansem mu na wo jefefefe e de amame ewo comment section ho moyenko eni nti ne eto aso.
His flight and rescheduled his arrival to Ghana from Dubai to April 18, 2020. That is April 8th, not 18. April 8th, 2020. Now, I want this chronology to sink in because of a point that I will be making later on about why we are detaining him. On March 20th, around 3 p.m., EOCO's operational team, led by the acting deputy executive director in charge of operations, assessed its operational plan to include the possibility that the suspect could have traveled back to London to fly to Ghana in an attempt to evade surveillance. EOCO assessed with high confidence that the changes made by the suspect in terms of arrival date in Ghana may have been calculated step to mislead investigators and throw them off any possible surveillance. EOCO further assessed that the time of the cancellation of the Emirates flight coincided with the time the British Airways was expected to fly from Heathrow to Ghana. The decision was taken to place the suspect on a stop order and make emergency operational adjustments and brace for his unexpected arrival and arrest of the suspect on either British Airways or KLM, which was expected to arrive in Accra. An hour to the arrival of the British Airways flight 078 in Accra, EOCO received intelligence that a name similar to that of suspect Kobina Edugwahi, he had changed from K. Edugwahi to O. Edugwahi in the manifest, may be on the British Airways flight. The suspect had slightly altered his name on all, the name that is reflected on all his passports. Around 9 p.m. on March 21st, the suspect was stopped by Ghana Immigration Service as he attempted to use the commercially important person CIP terminal at the Kotoka International Airport. Now, he had changed his class from business class to economy, okay, and decided to evade arrest through the CIP terminal. EOCO has evidence that the suspect has at least 2 service passports, one which expires in 2033 and another which expires in 2029. So he has 2 service passports. It means that he also has a normal passport. Usually you would have a normal passport before you are issued the service passport. EOCO is currently following up on intelligence that the suspect may be holding a foreign passport also, okay? Because from what I'm going to tell you, the massive wealth that he has accumulated from 2018 shows that it is possible for him to have bought citizenship in some of the countries or jurisdictions where you can actually, as an investor, buy citizenship. And also, his wife holds a British passport, which we have in our possession. Now, as I said, he is the immediate past Director General of the National Signals Bureau. He left office sometime in February 2025. NSB, or the National Signals Bureau, is a successor organization to the now defunct Bureau of National Communications. Prior to the enactment of the NSB Act, that is the National Signals Bureaus Act 2020, which transformed the BNC into the NSB, Mr. Edugwahi served as Deputy Director of the BNC and subsequently is Director from 2017. In other words, he has been in the management and control of Ghana's signal infrastructure since 2017. As the Director of BNC, Mr. Edugwahi was a co-signatory to the BNC's Director's account at Fidelity Bank. While serving as Director of BNC, however, he and his wife, Miss Angela Ejeboating, registered a company on October 23rd, 2018, which they named, and listen carefully, BNC Communications Bureau Limited. It is important to note that the similarity between the names here, that is BNC, was designed, to engage in a criminal enterprise, which will unfold as I go further. For purposes of differentiation, we will call the private company private BNC and call Ghana Signal and National Security BNC the National BNC. Mr. Eduboyin, who is the head or who was the head of the BNC, and his wife are listed as directors of the private BNC. Okay, so they registered the company, and the two of them, together are the directors of the company, the two directors of the company.
Therefore, anything for instance, I cost so any day about our money, and that was so egusu out with him. I should pass a witty and also I had enjoy our fancy now which have a fair Eddie and Mammy our comment section or when you're quite near to us.
On October 26, 2018, the couple opened a corporate account for their private BNC at Universal Merchant Bank, UMB. According to the mandate on the account, either of the directors could sign checks and approve transactions on the account. In his capacity as director of the National BNC, Mr. Eduboyin on January 30th, 2020, signed a contract on behalf of the government of Ghana and the National Security Council on the one hand, and on the other hand, an Israeli company called ISC Holdings Limited. The contract was for the purchase of a cyber defense system software at a price of $7 million United States of American dollars. Let us call this contract the GOG ISC contract. On February 6, 2020, Mr. Eduboyin then transferred an initial amount of 27,100,000 Ghana cedis, that is from the National BNC's operations account at Fidelity Bank to the private BNC account at UMB. Official documentation on the transfer revealed that the amount was for the payment of cyber defense system software, which the National BNC was buying from ISC Holdings in Israel. Mr. Eduboyin, in effect, transferred the money from the National BNC to his private company, the private BNC. A review of the transactions on the bank accounts reveals that once the funds from the National BNC landed in the account of his private BNC at UMB Bank, Mr. Eduboyin caused his private BNC to transfer an amount of 9,537,520 Ghana cedis to ISC Holdings in Israel. By the exchange rate at the time, this amount was the Ghana cedi equivalent of 1,750,000 United States of American dollars. To justify or facilitate the transfer of the 9.5 million and the 9.5 million, Mr. Eduboyin fraudulently attached a copy of the Government of Ghana ISC contract as well as an invoice which he held out as an invoice issued by ISC Holdings Limited in respect of the Government of Ghana ISC contract. On March 18th, 2020 and March 30th, 2020 respectively, he again transferred 21 million Ghana cedis from the National BNC Director's account at Fidelity Bank to the same private BNC account at UMB. The narration of the transaction indicated that it was for the payment of the cyber defense systems that the National BNC was buying. The transfer from the National BNC's account brought the total transfers that he made to his private BNC to 49 million Ghana cedis. By the exchange rate at the time, this amount was exactly the Ghana cedi equivalent of 7 million United States of American dollars. The exact full amount which he quoted as the price at which ISC Holdings sold the cyber defense equipment to Government of Ghana. All the payments transferred to the invoice, a number from ISC Holdings, all the payments reference the invoice number from ISC Holdings to the National BNC. Importantly, after the initial transfer of the 9.5 million Ghana cedis, which was the equivalent of 1.750 United States of American dollars from the private BNC to ISC Holdings. No further payments were made to ISC Holdings. A review of the transactions on the private BNC account reveals that after the payment of the 1,750,000, Mr. Edugbohe and his wife began applying the rest of the funds for their personal use, making transfers to local third parties.
For anything for instance, I cost so any day about our money, and that was so egusu out with him. I should pass a witty and also I had enjoy our fans and now have a fair Eddie and Mammy our comment section or my uncle and near to us.
You know, personal investment as well as transfers to unknown persons. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen of the media, we have all the account details, we have all the receipts, and any person who took money from Mr. Edugbohe from that account, we know. Now, our investigation, which was conducted by EOCO, as I've indicated, has established that the ultimate beneficial, in essence, the difference between 49 million Ghana cedis being the money Mr. Edugbohe transferred from the bank account of the National BNC to his private BNC, and 9.5 million being the money he actually paid to the ISC Holdings for the software, ended up with him and his wife. That is to say that the sum of 39,462,480 Ghana cedis of taxpayers' money went into their private pocket. The investigation has revealed that the ultimate beneficial owner of BNC Communications Limited is another company known as Advantage Solutions Limited. 10 other companies are through a very complex web of shareholding and directorship connected to Mr. Edugbohe and his wife, Angela. Investigations have also established that monies, mostly proceeds of crime from the Advantage Solutions Limited and BNC Communications Bureau Limited and other similar sources have been transmitted under very suspicious circumstances through the bank accounts of these companies. The investigations have revealed so far that the suspect and his wife have registered companies which we are currently tracking. We are tracking all the companies. There are about 10, of them that they created with Advantage Solutions mostly owning all the companies. For purposes of the investigation that is ongoing, we are not going to disclose those companies, but I want to warn any executive, director, or employee of each of the companies who, knowing that Mr. Edugbohe has been arrested, if they make movement of assets, we will track and arrest them and prosecute them. So they are all warned. All banks are also warned that if we see any wire transfers or cash withdrawals on any of the accounts belonging to Mr. Edugbohe and his companies, the bank managers and all their employees who are involved in those transfers will equally be arrested. After this press conference, no activity, and we are monitoring all their bank accounts from the Financial Intelligence Center. With the press of a button, we can see the movement of money, on any of the accounts. So we are monitoring that very, very closely. We know, for instance, that the 3 banks that they have been dealing with, in substantial financial transactions are UMB, Fidelity Bank, and Stanbic Bank. So we are monitoring them keenly. And the managers of this bank, if they are listening to me, should be careful about what they do on any account connected to Mr. Edugbohe and his wife and their companies. The investigations also established that the proceeds from the suspects' activities were used to buy significant landed properties and other assets of considerable value both in Ghana and elsewhere. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the press, my fellow countrymen and women, I want to give you a sample of what we have discovered so far. We have tracked most of the assets. So the properties that are in their names, their joint names, or sometime in their, in their individual names are as follows. We have number 2 Stream Park Drive, Mayfair Estates, LA, that is Accra. For that, they deposited, and we have the deposit slip as well as the receipt from the estate developer, $1 million United States of American dollars. Number 6, Edith Avenue, Mayfair Estates, Accra. Deposit 500,000 United States of America. That's American dollars. That's the initial deposit. All right. Then we have number 7, Edith Avenue, Mayfair, 200,000 United States of American dollars deposited for the property. Number 8, Edith Avenue, Mayfair Estates, Accra, 97,815 United States of American dollars was deposited for that property. But we are sure that other cash payments were made to complete the purchase and then the transfer of ownership. So we are tracing all those documents. Number 9, Edith Avenue, Mayfair Estate, 270,000 United States of American dollars deposited, initial deposit for the purchase. Number 10, Edith Avenue, Mayfair Estates, Accra, 150,000 United States of American dollars deposited. Now he also owns a company known as Vertex Properties, and we've traced the proceeds of crime to Vertex Properties also. They have, Vertex Properties owns 27 houses located at Oyarifa. Each house costs, an estimated cost of 295,000 United States of American dollars. We also know that they have 2 properties in London that we are tracking, and I'm going to trigger the legal assistance between the United Kingdom and Ghana for us to be able to lay hands on those properties. Now we also know we've been following the bank transactions very closely, and we know that on February 11, 2020.
Ha and I'm going to when I'm doing this fair when semi cost or need a my name to us the same way you much I'm going to share at the show. And now your frame your ha a Ghanatube in there, and the kind of when you open videos, I'm not sure part of the subscribe. Now I share at the amame. See a dear, my crowd.